a few weeks ago, if not up to a month, I came to do a story about how Aquaba Magic, Aquaba TV, and then DSTV were producing a series where the director was proud enough to say that he's depicting Dagoma people who were into slavery and the Ashantis, which is like fully false. Some Ashantis don't even know how this is possible because they have not gone to war with Dagomba before. There are many accounts, different forms of diplomatic relationships and other relationships, but to say someone conquered Dagbon people would be an extreme thing to say, because then there's a lot that has already happened according to history. So for us not to get some of these things wrong, I would just ask that GES, whenever you want to talk about, let's say you want to say Gonja people conquered Dagbon people and made them their slaves and they had to be paying royalties to them until Dagbon people got freedom, you'd have to involve the Dagomba and Gonja people. Now, some say that because their history is actually in oral form. Wow, you are Ghanaian. Which of the tribes don't have most of their history or truth about them in oral tradition? So you are here. So you just involve that because you are Ghanaians and you know how it goes. So you involve them, you go through them. And I'm not saying engage one party. You engage both parties. So you get to know what is true and what is not true. And you intelligently add something that won't even bring conflicts. However, when some of these things happen, someone is tempted to say, is there an agenda behind it? And I don't even want to think there should be an agenda behind it, because even the Gonja people are not aware of what some of the things you are writing. Then I think one of the most popular names will be Ivor Wilkes, which is actually a British historian who came to Africa and then Gold Coast, and he mostly stayed in the south. He spoke to most of the Hausa people who had the Hausa Ajami, and then some of the historians in Ghana. Some people told their one-sided stories. Some people had to discuss in a way to make them look superior than others. And so he brought all these things together as the history of Ghanaian people. Now, the dangerous aspect of this is that he even was a teacher in Legon at a point, because then he wrote some of like the most important history for some people. As GES, you are supposed to help us, because even Egyptology, which is, I don't think there's any form of history faculty that is more established or big than Egyptology. Even with Egyptology, today, Egyptology didn't start today, but today, as in 2025, I'm not talking of like Africans alone or British alone or Europeans alone or Americans alone or Asians alone. Like, people keep rediscovering, reassessing, re-narrating all the things, stories, what we call his story, which we coined together as history. They keep re-examining them and they find new information. They find that, no, we were not accurate with this information. No, this is how this is. This should have been the race of the people. This couldn't have been the race of the people, and that, and that, and that. So when you are a Ghana Education Service, you are so close to the people you want to write about that you know how much important oral tradition is in Africa and in Ghana. So I'm just calling on the GES and all our traditional leaders to come together, talk to GES, tell them to stop misrepresenting anything or any story of ours, so that we can live in peace and harmony. Because I feel like with just a little bit of confirmation, you are even going to get more information. Just like I said, Egyptologists keep rediscovering new information, so that our children don't consume things and then they come back home and their parents are like, no, I don't think that is right. And then historians from left and right are accusing the GES of probably propagating something that is false. Meanwhile, you thought you called some people, but you didn't call the main people involved. That's why we have these problems. So please, I heard things that are supposed to be for a whole fraternity of people are being narrowed down to be given as to just a single group of people. Let's be cautious of that. Let's let every Ghanaian feel that it's good being part of Ghana. No Ghanaian should feel like, wow, Ghanaians are taking me for granted, or they are misrepresenting me, or I can clearly see that they want someone who is not superior over me to look superior over me. So let's put all these together and then help our